Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become a confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I'm very excited to have my guest be Jessie Torres, and let me tell you a little bit about Jessie. The last 18 years, her peak performance coach and life strategist, Jessie is being able to coach thousands of high performance people from all walks of life in various parts of the world, and they have achieved success and the highest level of fulfillment. Out of the top 120 coaches on the planet, Jessie ranked number 1 or the top 3 in every measurable category, while working with the top coaching company in the world. Jessie is fueled by passionate love for humanity and a burning desire to end suffering. She is driven to discover the truth of the client's deepest potential and unlock limitless opportunities that leave others in the dark ages, bringing all levels of mindset, emotional intelligence, energy, and strategy with an authentic, client-driven approach. Jessie's teachings will help you transform your life from pain or trauma into purpose and passion. What Jessie refers to as fierce grace. And we're going to talk about a topic that that if you watch me from time to time, I like to bring to the forefront, and that is talking about trauma. So we're going to have our episode title be From Trauma to Triumph. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Jessie Torres. Jessie, so good to have you on today.
Thank you so much, Vicki. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate it.
So I always start with 2 easy questions, Jessie. I always say they're easy, but people prove me wrong all the time. But first question is, where do you live? Where do you call home now?
I call home Leander, Texas, which is about 22 miles north of Austin.
Ah, very good. So you get to take advantage of all the arts and things in Austin.
Yes, I'm just getting to know them because I'm newly out here, I think in August, first part of August. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where were you before Austin?
I was in Idaho.
Area. Idaho. Oh, wow. Big difference.
Yes, very, very big difference. Loved it out there, but
Yes.
came here to be near family.
Awesome. So the second piece is, we gave all the things that you're doing now, and I love for you to share a bit of your story so people understand that it wasn't just yesterday that everything clicked and turned into wonderfulness, but that your journey, your paths had different twists and turns, that it's not a straight path to success. So share a bit about your stories that led you to what you do today.
Absolutely. It's been a journey, and I think that part of my path, I call it the divine choreography, because I really see it as that.
Mm-hmm.
As I tell my story, I always say it's important for the listeners to know that today I sit in only gratitude and love for the people in my life that at that time were very challenging. I grew up with childhood abuse with my father for my first 18 years, and then jumped into a very abusive relationship for the next 18 years of my life. Very verbal, emotional, and mental abuse that left me completely apathetic. During that time, in that marriage, my brother was murdered. There was a lot of tumultuous times. His sister committed suicide. So there was a lot that we were bringing into that marriage. And as we progress through the call, I'll address some of those hidden traumas that I wasn't aware of, we weren't aware of. When we first met, we were, I was 18, he was 21. And for the first time
Oh,
ever, he called out what I was going through when it was the big secret, right? He's the one
yeah.
that saw it and he called it out. And when he loved me anyway, it short circuited me. I'm like, no, don't you know I'm gross and filthy. Nobody's going to want me after the abuse I've had with my father. That's what my belief was in my unconscious, right? So when he knew and he still wanted to be with me, I feel madly in love, right?
Yeah.
And we were young and we thought, this is
I can
perfect. We
make it.
understand
Yeah.
our inner children met years ago. That's what we thought, you know what I mean? And he came from his own abusive background. So we didn't understand, but we came into this marriage. We have 3 beautiful children. We thought we were going to make the white picket fence, the dog, the house, everything. And for the
Yeah.
most part, we did that. But there was a lot of trauma that we brought into that marriage as well. So at 38 years old, I now was willing myself to die. I would not take my own life because of my children, but I was hoping somebody would blow the red light. I was hoping that, something would happen that would end this pain, because I thought, if this is living, I don't want this life.
Yeah.
And I felt horrible for wishing I could be a widow. I had shame and guilt over that, because somehow that was better than being divorced, and at that point, it was an act of kindness that actually got me to wake up, another short circuit moment where, people were kind. They'll never know who they woke up. But I thought, I don't even know what to call this, but this feeling, if this feeling's available, then life is worth living.
Yeah.
And that gave me the courage to get out of my situation. And from that point, I was now like, what do I do? I had to buy a Thomas guide back then. This is how long ago it was. MapQuest, I think, was just coming out.
Yeah.
And just to be able to drive out of my own city, right? That's how kept I was. And so,
Wow.
that sent me on an insatiable hunger to understand human beings. I wanted to understand why my dad did what he did, why my mom ignored it, why my husband did what he did, and why I allowed it. And I started to read. I started to go to workshops, seminars, therapy, my own therapy, everything I could do to understand, and ultimately brought me to where I am today.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And sadly, it's not a story that we haven't heard before, too. And I love that you said that you recognize that you were in that and you weren't getting out of it. I think we do stay in situations thinking it's easier because we're so afraid of the unknown, that it
Right.
could be worse,
Yeah.
not even thinking that it could be better.
Just not believing. Like the first book I picked up, which was The Unmistakable Touch of Grace by Cheryl Richardson. I don't remember the entire book, but I remember there was one part that just said that I could choose to believe differently than what I already believed. And it just
Yeah.
opened up this door of like, wait, what? Like, I don't have to live the way I'm living, and I don't have to, what? And just that opened up the door, right? You get conditioned to believing that you are who you were brought up to be and what you were shown by your parents. My
Yeah.
mom was very subservient. It's just like, just marry a man and clean the house, take care of the kids, and you'll be good. That's kind of like the model that I had.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So that's what I did. I'm just like, just make sure there's no rage-filled explosion. Just make sure the house is clean, make sure the kids are taken care of, which developed codependency. I mean, there was just so many things that unfolded
Right.
throughout that process, but you believe that there's no way out. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about speaking on this, because I know that there's people out there that think their situation is impossible and that there's no way out, so much so that they stay in a very, very hurtful, very unhealthy relationship.
And you mentioned you have 3 kids. And so, as a mom, and you're having all these revelations and things, what kind of discussions do you have with your kids to make sure that the pattern doesn't repeat?
Today, well, my kids are 38 and 36. So
Mm-hmm.
I can say that from the evolution of my divorce some 20 years ago, to now, we believe we are in partnership to help affect change in the world.
Nice.
My conversations with my children are unlike any other. It's a constant revelation when people see us together because you can feel the energy. And so it's one
Mm-hmm.
of those things, and why I'm so passionate about speaking this to people, because sometimes we think that our pain is all we've got. But what we're not
Yeah.
realizing was the gift it also gave us in our resilience and our perseverance and our willing to live and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And for me and my children, our conversations are the most evolved conversations we could possibly have. We're very aware. I've come to them completely, saying, I know what I taught you. I taught you guys to be a doormat. So let's talk about that. So you don't do it. You know what I mean? Because that was
Right.
my example, so very open conversation. So we ensure that everything is clear and they're making good choices.
And I think that's important because um, a lot of times I think when we're in that situations, we like put on a mask and we don't think people see or are impacted by our pain, but oftentimes, especially with the kids, that isn't the case. So it's great that you just really promote the communication.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I do, I teach leadership and communication and public speaking with adults and kids. And I love whenever I'm with the students because sometimes they're results of those situations. And the time whenever they give their first speech where they talk about themselves, some of them are open enough to really share the situation that they are living in. And it's eye-opening for the teachers as well as their fellow students to think, oh,
Yeah.
I just thought you were a jerk, but no. Or I thought you were just really shy and quiet, keeping a lot in. Communication is so important.
Absolutely.
I love that you share that there's some common myths about trauma. So what would that be?
Some of the common myths are we believe we don't have any,
Yeah, no,
right?
so true.
So
Life's
some
great.
people will say, "No, I had a great upbringing. Love my parents. It's all good," and the human condition. So I redefine trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
because when we talk about trauma, people think of big traumas like
Oh
rape,
yeah.
something, right? And it's just like, which is very true, but we're not addressing the undiagnosed traumas that are created in the unconscious conditioning
Mm-hmm.
just by virtue of being a human being.
Yeah.
We make meaning out of our experiences. And I talk about this simplistic example because it's so simple, but it makes so much sense. If you can imagine a 5-year-old that goes to the grocery store with its mom, he's playing in the aisle with toys, right? She goes to the end of the aisle to grab something. She can see him, but he can't see her. He lifts up his head and screams for mom. She's like, within seconds, I'm right here. But in that moment, he anchors, I could be left behind. I could be
Mm-hmm.
abandoned, right? And so now he's clingier around mom. He doesn't want mom to leave the room, wants to
Yeah.
always be around mom. Now he's 35, wondering why he can't keep relationships because he's controlling, insecure,
Yeah.
and possessive,
Right.
right? And he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
know it was from that moment because it wasn't like she did anything wrong, right? There was no
Right.
abuse per se, but the child made that unconscious conditioning. We don't know
Yeah.
it. So one of the myths is like how I do my coaching is I talk to people about where are they limited today? What's happening? Are they not asking for the promotion? Are they not, speaking, their truth? Are they, tolerating an unhealthy situation? Is the limitation? Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is tied to some thread of something that happened in the past that they have not resolved yet. So I have the 3 pillars of trauma, which are undiagnosed, unacknowledged, and unresolved, right?
Mm.
So the undiagnosed are the ones you don't know to know, like that little boy, right? You know,
Right.
I don't remember. But then as we start talking about it, it starts to come up. The
Yeah.
unconscious becomes conscious. And now we have control. Now we're at the operating system of the mind. And I can say, oh, that thing happened. Here's what I made it mean. I no longer choose that. Here's what the truth is, right? And that's what
Right.
we help unravel. Now, the unacknowledged trauma is like my ex-husband and I. We were young. We knew he had an alcoholic mother who was brutal. He come home to his sister's unconscious on the floor. That's how bad it was, right? I was molested by my father. And so we knew, we came together and we're like, okay, cool. So he said, my kids will never see me drunk. I said, my kids will never be molested. And we thought we fixed it, right?
Yeah.
So the unacknowledged traumas are all the traumas underneath. All of the coercion that I dealt with, all of the, my dad and trying to hide from him, and, all these things where I just wanted to make sure the peace would, because when my dad didn't get his way, he didn't punish me. He punished my brother and my mom. And so as a child, I witnessed that. And in my unconscious conditioning said, if I don't let him, they suffer.
Yeah.
Which made me codependent. It made me a pleaser. It made me, in my grown-up years, now I'm just like, I have to make sure everyone is taken care of, because if I don't, people will get hurt
Right.
to my own demise, right? Which is why I got to that apathetic state. I get it now. But when you're in it, you don't know to know,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then unresolved trauma is pretty clear. It's all of that that's not resolved that we need to look at. And again, this isn't therapy. We're not going there to re-injure, but we're going there to, like, investigators, to get information
Yeah.
so that we can rewrite the story.
Hmm.
I tell people, I help people see the unseen so they never, ever unsee it.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. People don't realize how powerful the subconscious is.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes it a reality that, really wasn't there, but it in their minds it's really true.
Very much, very much. And we don't know we're living through those lenses.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you share with us what fierce grace means and how you use it in the work that you do?
Yes, fierce grace, if you can imagine, it sounds like opposites, right?
Yeah.
Being ferocious and having grace. And so it's the identification of the energies in us all, the masculine, feminine, right?
Yes.
It's the part, I say, the superhero, supervillain, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that polarity of who we are as human beings.
Right.
It's the part that says I can handle anything, and the part that says, oh my God, I'm terrified, right? It's just like
Yes.
it's this, right? So,
That's so
and
true.
fierce grace is bringing the balance of both energies and coming to the center, right? So
Mm.
if we're always in grace, then we're the gazelle that can get hunted, right? If we're
Mm.
always in fierce, then we're always fighting. So it's great to have both, but how do we balance and come in the middle to find our center, find our core essence, so that we can live from that place? And a lot of it is we don't know we have it, right? Or we live in our masculine, or for women that, let's say, were, abused, sometimes sexual, sometimes brutally beaten. You show up, you realize you don't want that anymore. So now you're a fighter and you walk around with invisible fists up in the
Yeah.
air, right? And you enter your masculine, and now you're fighting everyone, and you're attracting a partner that is either a pleaser, which is great because he does the dishes, but there's no polarity, right? Or you attract a hyper masculine that's going to abuse you because he'll be more alpha than you. Right.
Wow.
So it's this imbalance that's happening in our system. So fierce grace is a way to find our core essence. What is our truth? We all carry masculine, feminine. We all carry both. It's like, what is our core essence? What I say, we've built heart armor, right? So we have armor around our hearts from all the times we've been hurt before, and we've lost our sense of self. So let's unpack all of that so we can come back to our divinity, because nothing has changed about your magnificence from the moment you took your first breath. That is still you.
Yeah.
It's just clouded by all the things and all the beliefs and all the meanings you've given your life experiences.
So you kind of talked a little bit about the heart, and can a person who's lost that connection with their heart return to power?
100%. It is what's innate. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that 100% for those that are seeking it. For those that don't some are terrified to access that part. Why? Because, well, they were vulnerable at one point. They had their heart open wide. We do as children, right? But then, the bully comes in or somebody treats you unkind and we start to close that door, and we're so afraid to open it because there's so much feeling in there. There's so much emotion in
Right.
there. And if I open that door, I don't know if I'll stop crying. So it's
Mm-hmm.
much better to have control and keep that door shut. So I say 100% for those that are seeking, for those that know that there's something under there that they're not accessing and they want to, they absolutely can.
Mm. So in that regard, if you have someone that you care about, that you see that even before they see it, how can you help them? Or is it, as an individual not skilled, should
Mhm.
you always refer them to someone else? Or how do you break that wall down enough that the person will realize that they should talk to somebody?
Well, love begets love.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say show up in love as much as you can. Ultimately, they have to see it and they have to want it. You can't do it for them, but
Right.
you can speak to that part. You can speak to the part beyond the tightened, guarded person. Speak to the love that they are. See beyond the veil and speak to that part.
Mm-hmm.
I had at one point in my life, I helped this lady, and I won't get into the whole story, but um this group of people accused me of this thing that wasn't true. And she heard it after I'd helped her, and she cried. We hugged it out. It was amazing. And when she heard this thing, she bought the story and she came in and she says, aha. And I'm like, and she said, your love is overwhelming. And I was like, I don't know what to do with that. Like it hurt me really bad at the time. I wasn't prepared. I was just like, I don't know what that means, but that was
Mm-hmm.
really hurtful after I just helped you, and so for some people that are really closed and you keep loving on them, you keep loving on them, it could feel like too much. Right?
Yeah.
It's like the police officer that shines that bright light in your eyes. Immediately you do this, right? You're just like, oh, that's so bright. Get it out of my
Mm-hmm.
face. Don't you see? I'm in my darkness here.
Uh,
That's bright, right? So be gentle, be loving, be you, and know that if it's not received, it's more about their pain, not your truth.
mm. So whenever you talked about your dad, your husband, and all this, what role does forgiveness play in unshakable living?
It's such a huge role. I
Mm-hmm.
think that in today and age, we're opening up to a lot more spirituality, which I love. I think it's
Right.
fantastic. However, I think that there's a bypass that's happening. Oh, everything is perfect. Everything's that's supposed to be, which yes is true, but the human being still needs forgiveness. We
Yeah.
can spiritually understand that if we look from that spiritual lens or the helicopter view or whatever, that everything is in some kind of divine order. I believe that. But the human experience of being
Mm.
kicked in the teeth
Yeah.
needs forgiveness in their soul to release them into the surrender of trusting the divine plan. So forgiveness is a gateway of releasing us from
Mm.
contraction, from believing things should have been different, right? If we believe things should have been different, we're in an argument with reality, right?
Mm.
Because things happened the way they did.
Yeah.
If you say it shouldn't have happened that way, you're going to lose that argument every single
Yeah.
time, right?
That's
So,
right.
and all you're doing is signing up to suffering
Yeah.
because your belief is it shouldn't have happened. It's like, but it should have because it did.
Addicted.
Yeah. So now we need to bring forgiveness into our heart and soul and surrender, right? That it should have been different because the gateway to do it, my process to forgiveness, it's not just about saying I forgive. It's about finding the gift in the
Mm.
pain.
Yeah. That's
Because
so
if we don't
true.
look for the gift, we only
Mm.
remember pain.
Yeah. What is the one thing people need to know that they don't know they need to know?
Well, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
I believe that there is no limitation to the human being, only the belief that there is one.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a belief, you have the power to change that.
Mm.
You have the power to insert a different microchip now that we're in the day of AI, right? You can
That's right.
uninstall the old chip and install the new one, right? And I think that in today's day, with so much personal development and so many things out there, we are mindsetting our way out of healing. And so what's happening is we're getting tools and resources and strategies to be better with our mindset, positive affirmations, sing a song, put music on, whatever, shift it, right? Which is
Yeah,
all
right.
powerful. But what we're doing is we're moving through and we're not healing. So I say we're installing new software on an old operating system, expecting it
Oh,
not to glitch,
yeah, that
right?
doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So,
Mm-mm.
and then what happens is it invites a deeper level of shame because, well, now I went to the seminars, I did the workshop, I read the books. Why am I still
Mm.
stuck? There must be something wrong with me. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, there's nothing wrong with you. You just haven't upgraded the program.
Mm.
And we need to upgrade it by finding out where the initial meaning was given so that we can unravel it and find the other truth.
Oh, so very good. So time has flown by. We'll just do one more question. What are the 5 top consequences of living with undiagnosed trauma?
The consequences, well, you show up limited.
Yeah.
Right? There's something that keeps you stuck, might keep you in a loop, right? Another consequence is your family will be affected. I know
Mm-hmm.
we think we're in our own world and no, it's just me, I can take the suffering. But just know there's always someone watching,
That
especially
is
our
very
children,
true. Very
right?
true.
And our children want to make us happy. So children develop either being the clown or they develop being the caretaker. They grow up way too fast, right? Because they just want to do whatever makes mommy and daddy happy. And so they take it on, right? So that's a consequence as well. It also limits you in your
Mm.
career, your business, right? Because your business will only grow to the point of your mindset and your belief system,
Yeah.
right? It can't grow past that. Sometimes our businesses are like exemplification. It's the trigger that awakens all our unresolved trauma,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like having a child when you're a business owner. It's just like, oh my God, So
Mhm.
it literally triggers everything. So it'll limit your ability to grow. And I think that
Yeah.
nowadays we've stopped dreaming and dreaming big. We believe we
Yeah.
have to limit our
That is
dream,
true.
right? And there's dream stealers out there. Like
Mm-hmm.
don't buy the story. If God placed a dream on your heart, then go with it because it was placed on your heart for a reason, not anybody else's. And there's
Yeah.
nothing to prove.
Mm. Such a good bit of advice. People will steal our dreams for sure.
Hmm.
A lot of shooters out there.
There are.
Well, it's time now for me to share the slide that has contact information for Jessie. If you enjoyed this conversation, you think that you're either in trauma or recognize that someone you love may be, and you want to know more, you want to talk to somebody, you can get this information by doing a screenshot of the slide. If you're just listening, though, everything will be on my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. So please subscribe, as well as my Find Your Leadership Confidence website. So the website is iamfiercegrace.com, and that's OUR, Army
Our.
of Angels. Yes, our. That was a Pittsburgh accent coming out there.
No worries.
iamfiercegrace.com and our armyofangels.com. Facebook is Awakening Inspiration in You. Instagram is I Am Fierce Grace. LinkedIn is her name, Jessie Torres. That's JessieTorres. LinkedIn is at Jessie Torres Official. I'm going to turn it over to Jessie. She'll share with you what you might find on each of those websites, as well as where she spends the most time in social media and what she puts out there. So, Jessie, it's all yours.
Absolutely. Well, I Am Fierce Grace is the website to go so you can choose how to work with me. So it's got all the different levels because I do one-on-one coaching. I also have a program and I also have a mastermind for women. And Our Army of Angels is a place that I help leaders. Leaders not only lead in their lives, but also lead to the planet, serving the world. It's got a philanthropic approach to it.
Nice.
As far as I also have a gift for your audience. It's called the 10 Steps to Freedom. And it's a guide that will, no matter what your situation is, you will get some insight on what you can do and steps you can take right now. Okay.
Fantastic.
And unshakablelife.com is where you can find your way to work if you have trauma, or if I can support you in any way. And again, you might not know, just book a call with me. You can go on iamfiercegrace.com and if you see all the choices you have and you still have questions, just click the button. It'll take you to my calendar and we can have a free consultation so I can ensure that we can support you.
All right. And again, that free 10-step guide is at unshakable.com/10 steps to freedom. Jessie, it's just been great chatting with you. Especially that these last 3 years, we've had everyone I think has had some small, if not large, trauma that they've had to deal with, and understanding it, I think, is the first thing towards getting to healing from it. So love having people like yourself that are resources for people to be able to peel the onion and discover, take a little mystery trip to really find out what is keeping you from being all that you can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Vicki. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. As always, I remind everyone that life is a journey and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.